Hello, my name is Maria Outcalt-Smith. I'm with the Nevada Coalition to End Domestic and Sexual Violence. And today we're going to talk about Did You Know? And the thing we're going to talk about is coercion. What do you know about coercion? And today I have a guest joining me. Her name is Tiffany Gonzales, and I'll let her introduce the rest of herself.
Hi, I'm Tiffany Gonzales. I am a journalism major at Arizona State University, and I'm also Maria's granddaughter.
Yes, she is. So we invited her today to ask her some questions around what does she know about courage and how does she feel about it? So I will be asking her questions and then she will be giving us some feedback and also her point of thought through this. So the first question is, do you consider coercion a type of violence?
I don't consider it a type of violence. I do consider it harmful, but I don't know if I would label it as violence.
Good, good. Um, And what does coercion look like in dating at your age? What are you seeing? What are your friends seeing?
With me being in college and me being in my last year of college, our age range is mainly like 20 to like 24-ish. And I think dating in our range, coercion is a lot of manipulation, a lot of gaslighting into doing things, especially there's a lot of insecurities that are often brought up in today's age that are used to coerce people and used as a type of manipulation.
Okay. And so I'm going to ask you a question about when you were younger. How did that look to you like when you were in high school? I know you've been out, 3 years, but still, how did that look then?
I think in high school it was less serious in a sense. I think high school was more like as a teenager, you thought the world was going to end already. And I think being in college, the world isn't going to end, but you're also still trying to figure out how to be an adult and what is right and what is wrong and who you are. And I think things are just a lot more serious in college, and you don't want to lose at all, especially when you're trying to gain adult skills and be an adult.
Ah, that's a good point. Do you feel that um, when people are at your age and they're trying to, especially you're in college, you're trying to get that life that you're looking for, do you think coercion becomes easier for people who use it because of that?
I think it does become easier for people who use it. Like I said, I really just think it's a form of manipulation on an emotional level. And I think nowadays, at least my generation, we're very emotional and very in tune with our emotions and love to talk about emotional stability, instability, and how things and other people make us feel. So coercion and that type of manipulation is very easy to grasp and understand, especially when you're in a society that people are constantly explaining to you what manipulation is and what coercion is. So one could, if they wanted to, pick up on how to use it just because it's a topic.
Okay, good point. Good point. Um, do you think that there's people that use coercion and think it's harmless? Oh, it's just for a date, or it's just for this, or it's just for that.
I do think there are some people that see coercion as something not that serious, is just getting by and getting what they need. Um, And in a sense, it can be that way, but with coercion, there's still lying that goes into it. There's
Mhm.
Again, manipulation of the feelings, manipulation of the person itself, and you're kind of manipulating who you are and who you are perceived as once you use coercion. So I think it's still harmful even if you used it in a way of, oh, I just convinced them to give me $5 because that changes how people perceive you.
Good point. Um, if a friend told you I said no, but they still keep asking again and again, what do you do in those cases?
I think in those cases, you just have to know to stand your ground and you have to learn what it means when you say no. I've heard a lot of people say that you can say no in different ways and it depends on your tone of voice. And even some guys I've met will say, oh, well, they said no in like a playful way, or they stretched out the O when they said no. But I think if someone is saying no in any way, any shape or form, you should stop. And I think people, especially in my generation, are people pleasers and we're very sensitive to those types of things. And I think saying no is ultimately hard for us because we don't want to hurt other people's feelings. And then we have to go into conversation of, I hurt your feelings and this is why, and now I have to apologize. So I think saying no is harder, and I think giving in is easier. But if you were taught to stand your ground and if you were taught those boundaries and if you know your own boundaries, then that's how you would ultimately get through those situations. But you would have to be comfortable within yourself and know yourself.
Good, yeah, I understand that. So, what is one thing you wish you knew as a very young person and understood about consent and healthy relationships?
Um, I think I wish I would have known. I've always known about consent and what a healthy relationship looks like. I think I wish I would have known um what it looks like for both a female and a male perspective. I think growing up with girls and growing up with independent women, I was always taught to stand my ground as a woman and to, you know, just be the best woman that I can be and be the most independent and strong person that I can be. But growing up with siblings as well as little brothers, it's interesting when they come to me and they ask me things about liking girls and relationships and things like that, and liking and just having feelings for people as they grow up. It's interesting to see how I have to kind of explain it to them. Um, since I was taught it in a girl's perspective. So I think knowing both sides of it probably would have helped more, as well as what does a healthy relationship look like in a man's view and in a boy's view, even like a teenage boy's view.
Mhm. And that's sad because parents, we don't think about that. When we have a girl, we talk to a girl. Oh, these are the things you need to know as a female. And when we have a young man, this is the things you know as a young man when we should be having both conversations with both parties from the beginning, because that's how they can understand both sides. That's a very good point. Very good point. Now, what do you think are some things that people can use or learn on how to be able to not put themselves in situations where they don't know how to say no to coercion or don't see it? What would you recommend for other people your age or even younger or older?
I think always reminding yourself your boundaries and your limits, no matter the situation or position that you're in. Um, oftentimes in any type of relationship, like work, significant other, family, you can be coerced. And I think just knowing yourself and knowing what boundaries you have, no matter the person you're encountering or the person that is trying to coerce you, is very important. And I think ultimately, at the end of the day, when you're in a situation where you already have that sense of iffiness or that sense of, I don't know if this is something I would want to do, I think that's when you need to take a step back and think, is this something I want to do? Or am I doing it to please another person? Or am I doing it because I feel like I should? I think the I feel like I should or I feel like I need to is something that my generation clings on to because we just don't want to make those mistakes that we've seen, especially in social media, that are blasted. We don't want to make mistakes that we've already been perceived to.
And do you think coercion is done in a way? Well, I guess really my question is, what do you think people miss that they're being coerced? What do you think the mistakes are? I know that in, in more like clear cut cases, people are like, oh, yeah, well, no, I understand that. But where do you think, what kind of coercion do you think people actually miss it, that that's happening to them?
I think when it comes from a person that you have a relationship with, specifically a close relationship with, I think you're often blinded to a lot of things. And I think that that's the first step in you don't see coercion at all. You just think of it, oh, I think of it as, oh, I'm doing this for someone that I love, someone that I care about, or even someone that has done things for me. So why would I not do this for them?
Right. Good point. And I think that's one of the things that the message is to send, that, a lot of times people, well, of course, coercion coming from a stranger or somebody that is not close to you, but coming from a partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, uh, somebody in your family, it's hard to identify sometimes how it's working. And sometimes people learn how to do coercion in a way that is very manipulative, and it makes it sounds like, oh, this is in your benefit, this is going to benefit you, this is going to benefit us. And how do you compare coercion across generations? So do you think it looks the same when you're 40 or when you're 15, or you're not 40, but when you see, let's say when you see experience just from friends, family, do you think coercion looks very similar in adults as it does with when you're younger and now that you're sort of in that middle space?
I think coercion does look the same. I think it's just the benefits change of the person
Hmm.
who is um, trying to coerce the other party. And I think it just gets more severe as you grow up. I think being a teenager, it's like, if you don't hold my hand in the hallway, I'm gonna break up with you. And then when you're in your 20s, it's if you don't move in with me, things like that. And then when you get older, it's more severe. So I think it's more of the benefits, and I think it's more of the ultimatums that are given, especially with coercion. I think there's a lot of ultimatums that people don't even see as ultimatums. They just see as black and white, and I have to make this decision.
Good point. Very good point. Um, do you think there is a clear distinction, last question, between consent and pressure?
Yes. I think
Okay.
consent is you are fully within yourself and fully capable of saying yes or no. And you are able to just say, yeah, I said yes, or yes, I said no. And I think pressure is something that is influenced. I think consent is something that is already within yourself. in something that you already know that you don't have to think twice about. I think pressure is something that you've rethought countless times where it's spinning in your mind even after the matter.
And do you think pressure within the moment, how do you handle that?
I think pressure within the moment, you have to, if it's making you question yourself, then you are being pressured. And I think that's the first indicator of when you need to take a quick step back and say, okay, I'm being pressured to do this, or this is something I'm not comfortable with. Why am I not comfortable with it? Why am I thinking twice about it? If it's
Hmm.
something that you feel that you want to do, we often don't think twice. We often just do it because we want to do it. We already know it's something that we want to do.
All right. Is there anything, any last minute thoughts you'd like to send out to the public today regarding coercion and consent?
No,
All right. Well, Tiffany, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you doing this. And I want to thank the audience. Again, this is Nevada Coalition to End Domestic and Sexual Violence, and I'm Maria Outcalt-Smith, and we thank you for being with us today.